So right now you've got your notebook, you've got your pen, you're ready to lean into this. I want you to think of something you're afraid of. So I want you to bring it to your mind, and I know there's probably 1,000 things that are bouncing through your head right now. I'm afraid of COVID-19. I'm afraid of the economy. I'm afraid of what my business is going to do. I'm afraid if I'm going to have a job. I'm afraid of my financial situation. I'm afraid of the relationships that I'm facing. I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid of that. I want you to just pick one for right now, and you can continue and replicate this formula, but and work on it throughout the week. But I want you to just pick one for tonight. Just one. Whatever was kind of the first one or the loudest one or the most incessant one, that's the one that I want you to pick. Think of your fear story right now. And I want you to write it down, even if that's just a few words for now. But later when you're doing this inside of your journal, I want you to write it out. I want you to pour onto that paper. I want you to just words after words, and maybe they're not even full sentences, because maybe you can't even face full sentences right now. Maybe that fear story is so great that you can only get out a few choppy words at a time, and that's okay. But I want you to get it all out. I want you to pour it out, because part of this is you taking back your power. And the second that you harness what you're afraid of and you get it out of your head and you say it out loud and you get it out on paper, that fear automatically has lesser power over you, because now you're addressing it. Right? Fear only has power when you're not dealing with it. Fear only has power when you shrink away from it. But right now, you writing down your fear story is you taking your power back. Fear masks. Right? So fear is a sneaky little bugger. And it knows that if you identify it as a fear, that you are strong enough and you will attack it. So what it does is it doesn't show itself as fear. Oh no. So what are you afraid of? Next to your fear story, I want you to write this question. How does this fear try to hide from me? Because I guarantee you it is. I guarantee you it does it. It hides from you. Do you know one way, full transparency right here, true story, Georgia, do you know how my fear hides itself? In busy. How many of you hide behind busy, right? I can't get to this book I'm writing, right? I'm too busy. I've got too much stuff to do, right? I got to go do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. This thing takes priority over this thing, over this thing, over this thing. And pretty soon I can't write this book because, you know what? I've got things to do, right? It's lower priority for me, right? No, there's a fear story behind that, right? I can't start this new job. I can't, you know, I really want to be a business owner, but I can't because I don't know anything about this thing. And I've got food, you know, to put on the table in the meantime. I've got a family to feed. I've got this, I've got that, I got that. That's justification, right? Justification, busyness, right? How does your fear story hide from you? Write that down. The reason that you need to write this down is because I want to catch you on your own shenanigans. So if you know how it hides from you, you're going to be able to recognize it every time it pops up. And you're going to say, oh, no, self. You're not leaning into your fear. You're giving in to the mask. Write that down. What is the story trying to tell you? And I'm going to give you an example, right? So I'm dating this guy, really into him. I send him a text message, super vulnerable, right? He doesn't text me back. And then I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what does he think? Blah, blah, blah. I kind of just opened up there and blah, blah, blah. And he hasn't texted me back. And now he hates me, right? It's bad math. We just did bad math, okay? We said, I sent this text message plus he is not responding equals he hates me, right? You can see this story in, I just got called to the boss's office, plus we are in a recession, equals I'm going to get fired, right? What is the story it's trying to tell you? There is a story behind it. So in the moment of your freak out, what is it saying to you? What is it saying to you? What is the statement it's trying to make? Write that down. So it's saying you're going to get fired. It's saying you're not good enough. It's saying he's lying to you. It's saying this isn't worth your time. It's saying you're too busy, right? What is that statement that it's telling you? Write it down. Now I want you to look at that statement and ask yourself, is it true? Is that statement true? Do you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that he's not texting you back because he's mad at you? How do you know that? Did he say that? No. Is it an assumption that you're making? Yes. Right? Because you wouldn't have to fear it if it were true. That is how I know 100% that your answer to that question will always be, you don't know. Because if you knew it, you wouldn't fear it, right? Logic, right? Then you would be dealing with a whole other issue. Then you would be dealing with facts and you'd have to be dealing with the situation. That's not fear, right? Fear is a made up story. So that I know that whatever the fear story was is based off of information that you don't know. So you don't know that it's true. And if you tell your fears that it's not true, it's not going to listen to you anyway. So the next thing I want you to write down is, so what if it is true? What if it is true? What if this thing happens? Then what? So what if he didn't text you back because he's mad at you? Then what? How will you respond? Okay. If your boss called you into the office and you're getting fired, how will you respond? If you can't make your next bill, what are you going to do? Because I promise you that even though fear tells you that you're not good enough to figure it out, you are. And I promise you that you have a community that can help you solve for it, even if you don't know how. But you can't solve for the fear that's going on inside your head until you really listen to the fear story it's telling you. What are you afraid of? Right? So number one, what are you afraid of? Okay. Number two, what is the story that fear is trying to tell you? Okay. How is it trying to hide from you? Ask yourself, is this story true? So when you know what it's telling you and you can hear the voice of fear, ask yourself, is that true? Did they really say that? Is that really the way they meant it? Is this outcome really going to happen? And challenge it. Is it really true? If it is true, then what? And what are you going to do?